Hello guys, thank you for watching. So over this week, I've been thinking about status and I've been thinking about debt. And I think because of some videos that I've watched recently, I also kind of uh, have a format where it could be presented in a togetherness kind of manner. So here it is. When you are when you are in debt, right? You 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 bear like the proverb say this. If you what why would why would when you cannot pay your debt, someone would take away your bed under you. So the stake of being in debt, is is weird. We are talking about the banks who have your collateral, which is somewhat is a property, okay? And the decisions you make, whether it is bad or good, the risk that the bank have. I'm not saying this is bad, okay? But I'm just saying it as it is. The risk that the banks have would be not that high, while your risk is amplified. So if you were to have no debt, for example, you would be dealing with 100,000 level of stake. But because of credit, now you have 150, you have 150 stake at every decision you make, at the decision you make for your business, while banks would not. Compare that, would not. Like the risks are probably just 1% of that, or 2%, or maybe 5% of that, uh, due to the differences of how the collateral will be priced and how well they are setting things up in terms of getting the most out of your collateral. But the difference with like uh, putting up capital, like cooperating with people in terms of capital instead of debt, is that the risk being taken by the one who put in 50 is going to be one third. So the decision you make as a let's say this is just a small company, there are not too much of a distinction between CEOs and shareholders. This ruling shareholder is going to bear two-thirds, and the passive shareholder is going to bear one third. So the losses you make is going to be distributed to the other shareholder. While if you're a debtor, okay, like I mean, it's pretty obvious. But if you think about it, right, um, this combination between corporate fail, so the separate entity, having a business as a separate entity, and also having debt with the banks, is going to encourage something weird. Okay, let's decipher it separately. Having a separate legal entity means you're not being scrutinized as a person. If you're a shareholder, your CEO would bear that responsibility, and and the company as well, in terms of monetary compensation. You only liable as much as the capital you put in the company. So that is your, I mean, that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. What happened? And then that's a good thing. I like that because the nature of business really, when you cooperate with people, the decisions you make is not entirely you, right? I think I like that. But if you combo that with credit, now we are talking about a new kind of decision maker. Okay, the CEO is not going to be herself or himself. Again, it's going to be there. It's going to be an aggregation of all of these interests, and over time, what's going to happen is that there's this incentive. Do you know that quantum superposition, right? Let me explain a little bit of a quantum superposition. So um, when you are when you there is a different state of particle, so it could be a spin up and it could be a spin down. When you are entangled, this guy over here could only spin up, and this guy over here could only be spinning down, or this guy would have a spin up, or this guy would have a spin down. The point is, these two things is always going to be different. All right, but we don't know which one is which. So while it is not being articulated, both of them are in a state of very up and down at the same time. Once you determine that this is an up, this will be down. Once you determine this is up, this will be down. But before that, it is not already up and down. Not already up and down. It is both up or down. So this is the quantum superposition state. If you are in depth, right, and you have this combo of being a separate legal entity, right, or maybe not. Let's take it step by step. If you are in debt, you're compared to people who are not in debt, your position, even though you are not being immoral, but immorality is more rewarded. Okay, why? Because people who are not in debt, okay, even if they have separate legal entity, it doesn't matter. If you are not in debt, you are not being pushed to have steady income. We're talking about debt that requires regular payment here. If your debt doesn't require regular payment, it doesn't apply. It's a nice debt to have if you don't have to do a regular payment. But if you have to do a regular payment, it is nice to be creative and figure out new ways to get steady income. But when, as a Christian, there's a term that says up to God, as God willing. The future is God willing. Human could only make plans, but the outcome is determined by God. It's really hard to be like that when you are in debt. You have to, if you're in debt and it is a significant amount, if it is up to God, God's gonna go, you know what? I feel like being seasonal. I'm gonna give you your share of revenue next month. So you're gonna get revenue twice, but next month, not this month. So how are you going to pay your debt? So it you're in a state where it is favorable, to get something, to get steady income. And that steady income might, when it comes from things that are a little bit naughty or things that are a little bit mischievous, not necessarily breaking the law too severely, not being a criminal, but being naughty, you know, could translate, to be a bit more stable. Like you usually wait for the light turn green to cross the street. Now, because of you want the extra time, you would jaywalk, right? Or so that kind of thing. Um, yeah, that kind of thing is a little bit, you're in a state where that thing is not as much of a bad idea as compared to people who are not in debt. So over time, let's say you have 30 years of debt. By year 10, I think that state of position is going to, let's say you never done that. You're just being you always. You have the discipline to be always be moral, be obedient, and be upright. Be very upright always. Accumulation in 10 years, let's say, compared to the version of you who are not in debt, you're gonna expand the willpower or what? I don't think it's going to be the same. So let's say, for example, I go to a group of friends over here, and I go to a group of friends over there. I don't know about you, okay? A group of friends that are more in depth, it's a little bit more encouraging of being mischievous. Okay, they took pride in being able to, you know, produce steady income in a smart way. And what defines smart, right? While compared to someone who is not in debt or not being pushed to have steady income, they would be like more chill, maybe. Maybe I don't know. What about you? I maybe I shouldn't, like, I am not revealing anything. Okay, it's a supposed thing. Like, but do you think it's true? If it's not true, then it's not true. And what this going to entails, if it's true, right? This state of mind, right? You're gonna have kids over this period of time. This state of mind is going to be picked up by your kid, okay? And during the teenage year, they're gonna go to school, and if your kid is a boy, right? That kid is going to be pretty attractive if you are in debt, because girls are attracted with steadiness, with status, right? Regardless whether the status come from performance or not, or being able to stop other people from performing so that your status as a performer will remain significant. I think that's pretty attractive to, like, guys like boobs and butts. We gotta we gotta pay more scrutiny to figure out whether this girl or this woman is actually going to be lovely or not. But in the first glance, she got boobs and butts. All right, that's attractive already. The same thing I think with woman. This guy got status. Whether this guy is a good idea or a bad idea, the first impression, this guy got status, right? So your boy is going to be pretty attractive if you are in debt. Do you think? But this is not a good encouragement. This is not a good encouragement. And I think if you are a community and you want to have justice in your community, you want to offset this. I think this state of a, of being of this rewarded mischievousness, a little bit is maybe okay, maybe interesting even, but a lot of people, a lot of time, that's a lot of encouragement towards injustice. Okay, not again, and not definitive, but in a superposition. Okay, the chances are different. If you are in debt, your the attractiveness is different. The attractiveness of status. And when talking about meritocracy as well, if you are in debt, are you going to, if a community that is that has a lot of debt, are they going to be encouraged to prioritize performance, or they would prioritize status more in terms of making a living? Okay, so You solve this problem, you got status. You got status from God because it's a history. But other people, when they solve this problem, your significance might be oscillating. Okay, will you stop these people from performing or not? And would it be different if significantly in terms of the level of debt? I think this is journal article material, scientific research material that needs to be proven scientifically. However, though, I mean, logically speaking, right? How can you say that the incentive is not there? And then, as a community, you want to offset these chances, right? Don't, I would like to say, don't penalize with money. That is so cheap, and that could be unjust, and that's not, that potentially also going to be misused by status people, status politicians, status oriented politicians to act as if they are meritocratic person. That's so disgusting. I propose a solution. Okay, here's a solution. In the case of, let's say you see people, a lot of people are jaywalking. You see what, whether they are in debt or not. Okay, you aggregate it, and based on the aggregation you share more details about their business, so that this is going to give them more anxiety. Why? Because uh, potential competition would increase, but it's just like legal details, not trade secrets, of course. Just like, you know, I mean, reporters or newsmaker is enrolled with this. Okay, so if you see, ooh, this group, this, demographic, I mean, be meticulous, right? Don't just, oh, Chinese people, oh, freaking black people, oh, white people. Okay, you don't be like that. Okay, or Christian or Muslims, or don't be like that. Okay, just like be diligent and figure out, oh, dang, we gotta balance things out, and then, but don't consider this as a penalty. It's not a penalty. It's just like sharing the business tips so that other people could also flourish, right? We don't want a pattern that is like that. If you flourish, you want status, therefore you prevent other people from flourishing. So if you're okay with that, then it's not a problem, right? It's just, but if you are so enamored with immorality already, this would be an anxiety. So information could could automatically, like a missile, heat-seeking missile, right? It's like it's it's finding the right target rather than being unjust. But again, there's a legal corridor. I always talk within a legal corridor. Okay, don't do things that are illegal. Don't reveal trade secrets or violate intellectual property like that. If you do, probably you are in debt. Just kidding. Thank you, guys. Goodbye.